Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Western Hotel here in downtown Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm Chris Heidel with you and the Grief. We're here at the ACC Kickoff for the 2016 season, and we have some questions through this whole morning. We've been watching the different teams going in and out. They just had a big announcement early this morning about that cable agreement with ESPN. And we got people stopping by here. This is like this is live radio, son. So we have one of the folks from the Carolina Sports Network who loves the stuff he does here in Carolina. You know, he probably has to get his wife permission, probably. So we let's talk about, what do you think about today? What do you think about the Coastal Division? Who do you think is going to win the Coastal Division?
Who do I think is going to win the Coastal Division? I'll give the edge to Duke. I'm liking Duke. I'm picking Duke. I like Duke.
Dylan?
Nice. I like that Duke call because I think they have the best quarterback in the division. This senior is on everybody's watch list, and they have a great established coach. So can you get the most out of it? Is going to be the key. And much of the talk today, rightly so, has been surrounding Deshaun Watson and Dalvin Cook, two of the front runners for the Heisman in the ACC. But do you have maybe a dark horse maybe in the ACC who could potentially get an invitation to New York League?
No, I'm with you at the two. But Deshaun Watson for a quick second. Nick Saban, you heard what he said, right? Called him the next Cam Newton. Reminds him of Cam Newton from, says the best quarterback in college football right now. Reminds him of Cam Newton. Nick Saban said that the other day. So, yeah, I'm not impressed by it at all. But I agree with you with the Duke thing, the quarterback, and he's probably got they definitely got, like, he's got that, like, look to him. Like, he looks like a star quarterback. You know, he looks like your Peyton Mannings, your Tom Brady's. You know, like, he looks like that, like, should be wearing a suit and tie everywhere he goes. He's going to have a hot girlfriend down the road. He's going to make a lot of money. And he's never going to talk to any of us again.
Thomas Circus is saying we'll have him live on Herb FM Sports at 4:30. Lee, let me ask you this, Lee. Obviously, the college football playoff now. Are you a fan of it, or do you like the old school approach?
I don't like the old school approach, but I'm not necessarily a fan of the new system. I think they should expand further than 4 teams. I think we should go, you know, maybe 8 teams deep. I mean, I think you can get a whole, like, you can get a full playoff out of this. Like, don't do just 2 games and then, you know, 1 and 2. You can get a full blown system here. Get 8, maybe eventually down to 12. Maybe, I don't know how you work it in, but I think you can get a couple weeks out of it. You don't have to do this, you know, play on Thursday, Friday, then a week later you guys play in the national championship. But it's better than the old system. I mean, a computer where you throw in, that's like the lotto. You know, you have a better, you know, your team making it has a better chance of, you know, you win the lotto. This is ridiculous. But yeah, I'm cool with it. Obviously, the 4 teams, it's weighed out to SEC, ACC, Big 12. You know, it's like, you know, there's always going to be 2 SEC schools. You always got to hear that. There's got to be 2. You know, you got to put in LSU and Alabama. It's not fair if you don't put them in. You know. So, because everybody SEC plays is way better than everybody in the ACC. Even though there's ACC coaches now in the SEC, or SEC coaches in the ACC now, Mark Richt and Jimbo Fisher is an SEC coach. So, yeah, there's a lot of what I said earlier, a lot of SEC talent in the ACC.
I got to tell you, Lee, you know, over the years, you know, I wasn't necessarily a Virginia Tech fan as much as I've become a Frank Beamer fan. And this switch over Justin Fuente coming in, what do you foresee as the biggest challenge for him? Obviously, he's coming from a lot of success in Memphis. You know, he's groomed Paxton Lynch most notably, first-round pick in the NFL. But for a team that prides itself basically on special teams and defense and tradition, what do you feel like are the biggest hurdles for him to get over to be successful at Virginia Tech?
Forget about the on-the-field stuff. The biggest hurdle for him is going to be everything off the field. You're going into a bigger market, even though it's not the biggest market. Coming from Memphis, you're talking about schools that aren't in the SEC and the ACC. You're going to a big market. That's like the equivalent of being like a baseball player, and now you're playing for the Yankees or the Mets. You know, you're going to a team now where everybody's going to be looking at you. But yeah, you're not coaching anymore worried about teams like UCF or Tulsa. You're worried about teams like Miami, Florida State. You're talking, you're up here with big boys. Everybody can say what they want about Mark Richt and leaving Georgia. Just use that as an example, right? He didn't take a downgrade going to Miami. The only downgrade about going to Miami is that they're not necessarily a top 10 program anymore, and nobody wants to go to the U anymore like they used to a couple years ago. But they're still bad boys of football. They're still going to compete. They're still going to give Florida. I'm sitting here with a Florida State fan right now. They're still going to scare the hell out of me when we play them. We play them week 6 or something like that, week 6 or 7. They're going to scare me. So just little things like that are what I mean.
Well, the only thing I have concern about Miami is because Mark Richt knows the ACC because of his time in the SEC. And one thing that Mark Richt doesn't, that Al Golden didn't do last year, my brother was watching the spring game of the Miami spring game. Mark Richt uses fullback a lot. You didn't see Al Golden use that at all. Al Golden basically used the traditional throw to the wide receiver, throw to the tight end guy. You didn't see Al Golden mixing it up because Al Golden had that. I'm going to stay what I want to do. That made me successful at Temple. Well, that's Temple. That's Philadelphia. When you go down to Miami, you're almost like the Miami Dolphins. You are expected to win a national championship every year, not just 7-6 or 8-5 or getting derailed by Clemson at home, 56-0, and having the AD going around with a hat trying to get people to pay some money to buy you out of your contract. That's pretty lame.
Well, think about that. You're talking about fullbacks. Think about the last couple of running backs, the last couple of years. They're all SEC guys, all SEC running backs. Well, look now, you got Mark Richt coming in and using fullbacks. Florida State this year is going to run the ball a lot. You're going to run it's becoming like this league where it's going to be ground and pound. You're not going to do these flashy passing the ball through the air, doing that deal. You're going to be a lot of ground and pound. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. My question for you though is how long until Mark Richt's wearing an orange tie? How many games into it?
Let me ask you, while we're talking about quarterbacks, I did watch a lot of Miami football last year, and Brad Kaya showed signs of being a really good quarterback. I think defensively, here's a Hurricane program that's really prided itself on the defensive side of the ball the last couple of decades. They gave up over 400 yards in the game last year. What are your thoughts about Brad Kaya and what he can do in the Coastal Division this upcoming season?
You got to assume he's probably the third best quarterback in the ACC. If you roll down the list, he's probably third best in the ACC. He's probably one of those guys that will get drafted like in the 6th round, 5th, 6th round maybe. Might be put on kind of like, do you remember a couple years ago when they drafted, the Panthers drafted the dude from Notre Dame, Jimmy Clausen, and they took Tony Pike in the same draft. Those are back-to-back picks. That's kind of like where I see Brad Kaya. I don't think he's not going to win games for you, but I don't think he's going to lose games for you. And that's what you need. You need that on teams a lot of times. You need a guy who's not going to lose a game for you. If your defense can do the work and get you there, don't lose the game. But he's not. Miami this year, 6 wins, 7 wins. I don't think they're not. The only thing making me nervous is that Florida State and them are a rival. Other than that, I'm not worried about anything that's coming out of Miami.
Well, yeah, I know you're a busy man. Who do you have on your slate for this afternoon? I know you and I had a conversation on the Wi-Fi yesterday. Who do you have coming on this afternoon?
I got the good-looking quarterback from Duke. Yeah, Thomas Sirk. I got Edwards, the cornerback for Duke, the safety for Duke. I got him on. Tommy Bowden. Coach Tommy Bowden, he'll come stop by. Paul Johnson, Georgia Tech coach. So hopefully that goes good. Georgia Tech, I got this. I'll give you a little tip. Do you guys know where Georgia Tech plays this year? Do you know where they're playing the games? There you go, Dublin, Ireland. I want to know what that trip's going to be like.
7:30 in the morning. Somebody's going to.
If it's not going good in the first half, do you leave to go drink?
I think Paul Johnson will hit a pub by the time halftime rolls around. Well, that's Lee from our folks from the Carolina Sports Network. Let's give you the schedule here. I know that you probably hear us on Hurricane Sports Radio, sports.com. might hear a lot of background noise. This is our first live program with our new software. Getting all the kinks out, but it does sound pretty quiet and pretty nice on the air. Coming up at 2 o'clock, we got the CEO of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. It used to be the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Now they go back to the Peach Bowl. Gary CEO of Chick-fil-A will stop by. We have the Tim Annette from the ACC marketing department will be live as well. And then at 3 o'clock we have Eric Hans, the CEO of the Honors Bowl, who is still playing at Pro Player Stadium, or whatever you want to call it, next week. They change the name all the time in South Florida. Fine facility. And then at we'll tell you around 4:30 we got our fine quarterback from Duke will stop by. Thomas Shook will stop by. The running back for Virginia Tech, Sam Rogers, will stop by as well. And if you need some special teams help, you have Justin Vogel, who is a good senior punter for the Miami Hurricanes. He'll be stopping by around 5 o'clock. Tomorrow, we'll be on the air probably noonish, maybe 11:30ish. We'll try to see if we can get some. We'll have Gene Deckenhoff will stop by as well, the voice of the Florida State Seminoles. Plus, we'll grab whoever we find around here. We can take this tablet and go. This could be on the go radio show in the corner. So, but first, we're waiting for Jerry Colwell. We're not talking about that guy, Jerry Colwell, who ran Liberty University. Not that Colwell. Yeah, my dad remembered that. Yeah, I think I got that all mixed up. But anyway, he is the GM of the Battle at Bristol. You want to know, Bristol, Virginia is home of a very famous racetrack in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. And they're going to they're going to change that whole track into a football field. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they can turn a NASCAR track into a football field in one weekend. And it will be broadcast live on ABC at 8 p.m. from Bristol, Virginia, and that's actually 2 hours from where the family home in Harrisonburg, Virginia is right now. So summer home. So Ewan, what do you in your observation around here? We got here at 9:30 this morning. I was in the press conference talking to Mike Martin, the baseball coach. Talked to Ruff McGraw, the head coach of the women's basketball team at the Irish in Notre Dame, and just listened to the commissioner of the ACC, John Swalping. What do you think about that new network joining with another network with the ESPN brand on it?
I think it's indicative of the college football landscape right now, because college football is no longer a regional sport; it's a national sport. So I think it's just great for college football, and quite frankly, you can make, and universities know this, and so do ADs and alumni. You make your bread and butter during college football season. College football brings in twice as much money as any other facet of sports, whether it be basketball or baseball. This is where you're going to make your money. So I think it's a great thing. And much of the talk around here at ACC Media Day 2016 here has been about the college football playoff. In the first 2 years, the ACC has been well represented. First with Florida State, and then, of course, with Clemson last year giving Alabama all they can handle. So, we had Lee on earlier, and he was talking about the perception about, how the SEC has to have 2 teams in because they play the toughest schedule and they're the toughest conference in football. And I think that's changing a little bit, Herb. I think, there's more parity in college football, and especially what I love is coaches that aren't afraid to schedule out-of-conference tough road games. I think that plays into it a great deal.
Well, we're still waiting for Jerry to stop by. Jerry is doing the radio rounds, so we'll probably get him, probably before he leaves this afternoon. So it's been an interesting day, seeing all the different personalities stopping by. People. A lot of these student athletes this year are wearing shirts and ties for the first time. They don't have to wear the school colors coming into the press conference like they did last year.
It's a great forum to get to know players and coaches off the field, and before really the chaos starts. Spring ball is right around the corner. These coaches are preparing their rosters, and really this is the time that you're going to solidify your rosters and make those one or two tweaks, perhaps even on special teams, that can make a difference. So this is certainly, even though the actual games haven't started, this is the time where the work comes in and you're lifting weights, and this is they always say championships are won in the off season. So this is a crucial time, especially to get ready for what's to come.
Well, we're still waiting. I think here comes Jerry. Jerry's stopping by. There's Becky Cox, who we have privileged to speak to, and here is Jerry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hi, Jerry. How you doing?
Nice to meet
you.
Jerry, Ewan McCreath. How you doing?
Nice to meet you. Have a seat. Thank you very much for stopping by. I know you're a busy man today.
Sure.
Talk about this big football game down at a motor speedway down in Bristol. How did that all come about? Did somebody one day just want to put grass in the middle of the infield and say, we want to play football, can we do this? Because I don't feel like playing in Blacksburg. But how did that start?
Well, it actually has been 20 years in the making. It started our chairman, Bruton Smith, and Jeff Bird, who was president of the Speedway at the time. Back in 1997-98, Bruton bought Bristol Motor Speedway in 96 and had begun to build it into last great Coliseum like it is today. So it became, what else are we going to do here? This thing's a Coliseum. We're a half-mile racetrack. We're completely bowled in. It's a football stadium on steroids. Hey, let's talk football. So at the time, went to Doug Dickey at Tennessee and to Jim Weaver at Virginia Tech, and the stars just never aligned. Tried it a few years later, and it still didn't work out. I think Phil Fulmer and Doug Dickey were not really that interested in it. Back in the early 2000s, Mike Hamilton was athletic director. They came to us asking us to play, and it didn't work for us. We were in a massive construction phase of building every year. And then you get to 2012, late 2012, early 2013, and Marcus Smith, our CEO, in some conversations with friends, called me up one day and said, hey, I've been talking to some guys. We need to resurrect this idea of a football game. And at the same time, I had just gotten a phone call from Oliver Luck, who at the time was the athletic director at West Virginia. And Oliver had been at our August race the year before and said, hey, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'd never been to your track, but I'd heard this story of a football game at your place for years. And it's never happened. And now that I've been there, I'm telling you like everybody else has, you got to play a football game at that place. It's a football stadium. So that kind of sent us on the path with some conversations, a lot of conversations first with some engineers to say, can we do this? Are we crazy? How much is this going to cost? And they said, yeah, you are crazy, but you can do it. And then that led us to some conversations with Dave Hart at Tennessee and Jim Weaver at the time at Virginia Tech.
So are you guys going to roll in with the field already made? Because I know in Arizona, the stadium out there in Arizona, they grow it outside and they push it in. Are you guys going to just push it in, or are you guys going to just grow it?
No, we will. So we have the largest NASCAR race of the year is our night race, Bass Pro Shops NRA night race, August the 20th.
Okay.
So good Lord willing, we will run that race that day, and the next morning we'll start bringing material in. We have to raise our infield 3.5 feet.
Oh, wow.
Because our infield slopes to the middle, and we have to get it to go to the edges like a football field. So we have to raise the middle 3.5 feet and put material in there. That's going to take about 3 or 4 days just to get the material in, and then give 3 or 4 days for them to pull in the artificial turf. Mm-hmm. And we'll do artificial turf, and they'll sew it in place right there.
Chris Heidel and Ewan McCreath joining us at ACC Media Day. We're happy and privileged to have Jerry Caldwell with us, the top dog at Bristol Motor Speedway. And we're talking about the first game at a speedway. It's going to pit Virginia Tech against Tennessee. You know, Jerry, I was thinking that this is more than just a football game. I was talking to your assistant, Becky Cox, and this is going to be more like a bowl kind of atmosphere. Can you talk about some of the other activities you're going to have there?
Yeah, no question. It will turn into that. This will be the largest college football game ever. We'll have 155,000 plus people in attendance. Right now, the record's about 117,000. So it's really history. We're going to have all kinds of events going on. The night before, we're going to kind of kick off. We're calling it the tailgate party. We're going to kick off with Kenny Chesney, Van Perry, and Old Dominion. They're going to play a concert the night before inside the bowl and really kick it off. But we've got people that are coming in all week. I got some research last week that said we've sold tickets to people in all 50 states and 4 foreign countries that'll be coming to this I almost said race, to this game. So it really is. It's going to be history in the making. And it's never been done before. We don't think this will be the last one we do. We think we'll play other games there, but this one's going to be something special.
Yeah, no question about it. Do you think, you mentioned earlier, and I wanted to just ask you to elaborate. You said this game was 20 years in the making. Because one of my questions before you came here is, how did you settle on the 2 schools? Is it just because 20 years ago you picked these 2 schools, or how did that come about? And you have 2 of the more storied, more established programs in college football playing in this game in Virginia Tech and Tennessee.
Well, they were naturals. Bristol is a city divided. Bristol is half Tennessee, half Virginia. And it is amazing. You'll be on the Tennessee side, and every car you pass has an orange T on the back of it. And as soon as you cross State Street, which is the dividing line in Bristol to get you to the Virginia side, you have Hokies on every car, that Burgundy VT. And it's amazing. It's just right there. We are 9 miles from the exact center of Blacksburg and Knoxville in Bristol. So the 2 teams were just natural. It could have happened with others, but we did work really hard to make sure that this first game, the first time we do this, really, it just made too much sense for it to be Tennessee and Virginia Tech, and we're certainly glad we did.
Jerry Caldwell joining us from Bristol Motor Speedway, the first game in college football history to be played at a speedway. And Jerry, I got to ask you this. It sounds like it's going to be a festive atmosphere. My buddy and partner Herb and I were just talking if we can make it down. I think it's a can't miss, game and opportunity for us. But, when we talk about college football, Herb, we talk about great rivalries like Florida State, Miami, UNC, and Duke, and certainly other sports. I never really thought about a rivalry between Virginia Tech and Tennessee. Could this be the start of some kind of tradition, a yearly tradition between these 2 teams at your facility?
We think so. Whether it's annually or every 2 or 3 years, I think there's something there. And I think the environment is going to be like nothing else in college football, because you take the NASCAR world, people tailgate in the NASCAR world for about 4 days at a time. They come in their RVs and they camp out and they create their own little communities. And then no one knows how to throw a party like college football fans, because they may tailgate for only a day or 2, but they know how to do it right. So you bring those 2 audiences together, and we'll have people there all week. We've got people that are already calling saying they're coming on Monday of that week. We have people that are calling saying they're coming to our August night race, August the 20th, and then they're going to stay for 3 weeks through the Pilot Flying J Battle at Bristol. So there's not going to be another environment like it. The other that makes it very unique is accommodations. So we're going to have a lot of campers that are going to be there versus people normally going to their hotel and going to some bars or whatever in the town. That will be going on, but we're going to have a lot of folks that are camping around it. We've already had to go find more camping and sold out of camping 3 times. So all of our grandstand seats are sold out. We've got a few premium areas left, not many, but a few seats down along the field and a few in a suite. But we're going to have a full house. It's going to be amazing.
College football history in the making.
Well, I have a house in Harrisonburg, Virginia, so that's like basically an hour and a half from the small town of where James Madison University is.
Been through it many times.
Yeah, I call it the Disney World of Route 81, because if you're at nighttime, you're driving and you can't find where you're going, just look for James Madison. It just lights up like it's like Walt Disney World,
Good call.
talk about this game coming up. I know in the mountains of Shenandoah Valley, in this time of year, late August, early September, you get all those different climate weather coming through. What is the backup plan for this game if something happens with like a storm coming in? Because I know a lot of these teams don't play in the lightning. They don't play. Do you have like a backup, day that you might say, hey, we're supposed to go into Sunday. Will ABC help you? Did they talk to you about that, or how are you going to plan that out?
Well, we've had many conversations about it, really with the schools, working through that, and we'll address that if that comes up. The good thing, we're used to NASCAR races where if it's raining, we're not running. If it's rain, we're playing. And, if it's lightning, obviously we'll address that and deal with it. And there are plans in place if we have to get there. But I feel good about what we've got. Little rain hadn't stopped these guys from being able to play, so I think it'll come off that day.
I think it would be cool that you guys are doing this with Tennessee and Virginia Tech. Maybe down the road, maybe James Madison versus Richmond. Keep it like a Commonwealth. The Commonwealth theme. And you'll give maybe the different schools their spotlight, because I know the CAA is a very good program, football oriented, and they're looking for something to get themselves out. Maybe down the road, a CAA Colonial Athletic Conference game, maybe.
Yeah, I think that could make some sense. The next week, so September the 10th is the Pilot Flying J Battle of Bristol. The next week, we're going to play East Tennessee State University versus Western Carolina.
Oh, wow.
So for that very reason, let's give some other schools a chance. We've got the field down there. East Tennessee State University is our kind of hometown university. So we went to them and were able to put that together and excited about it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I want to just go down there that weekend. I think I'm going to skip work and just go down to Bristol and see what's going on with that town. It's small town USA in the mountains of Virginia.
Well, once again, Chris Heidel and Ewan McCreath joining us, Jerry Caldwell, and we want to just encourage everyone not just to go to this football game, but to be a part of college football history. And we appreciate Jerry. We just got one additional question. Well, we know you're a busy man.
So you said there's grandstands are all full. Is there any tickets available for anybody who are willing to, like they just heard us on the broadcast or they just heard commercials in that area? Is there any tickets left over? Maybe Waterboy? Yeah, get the field goal, the footballs from going out of the stadium.
Yeah.
But how those people can get tickets if there's any tickets left available?
Well, they could maybe apply to you guys to like carry your equipment around, and they could come tag along.
That'll work. we always are looking for somebody to carry our stuff. I was looking for the guy last night at the bus. I'm like, hey, really?
We've got a few. There are a few areas. We call them premium areas, but I'll tell you what's happened is the areas that we're calling premium areas, some seats right down there along the field, they're cheaper than what a regular grandstand ticket is in the secondary market right now, because the secondary market's gone crazy. So call us, 423-BRISTOL, or go to bristolmotorspeedway.com or battle@bristol.com, either one of those. And there's still a few options out there. We don't have many. And then we still got a few tickets. If somebody is coming and they want to go to that Kenny Chesney concert the night before, we've got a few tickets left for that.
Maybe we could do an interview with that. He's a Tennessee guy. He is. He's a Tennessee boy. He went to the University of Tennessee. So, folks, that game is going to be slated for September 10th of this year between Virginia Tech, the Hokies, versus the Tennessee Volunteers at the Bristol Motor Speedway. And we have Jerry Caldwell. Jerry, thank you very much for stopping by.
Absolutely.
And I hope everything goes well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks. We'll see ABC. If you can't get tickets and be there, ABC be on at 8 p.m.
Yeah, that'll probably be on Channel 3 in Harrisburg. I know that.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, Jerry. Well, there's Jerry Caldwell with stopping by to talk about a unique thing between two Bristols, Bristol, Tennessee, and Bristol, Virginia. So I guess that'll be rivalry week. So we're waiting on our folks from the Chick-fil-A Bowl to stop by. If you are listening to us here on PurpleFestSports.com, you can always send us a text message at 443-567-0746. Let us know if you are hearing us loud and clear. I know we have a lot of people. We're in a big, giant, ballroom here at the Western here in downtown Charlotte, North Carolina. We are actually a couple of miles away from the Bank of America Stadium, where the winner of the Atlantic and the host of it swear off for the chance to win the ACC football championship. So We are waiting for our folks from, but we're going to take a break here. I'm going to go, or I'm going to send it over to you in here. I'm going to give myself a glass of water, and I'll be right back.
We want to thank Jerry Caldwell for his time for Virginia Tech, Tennessee. A new college football rivalry in the making. It will be very interesting. 150,000 people from all over the country expected to attend. So get your tickets. You want to be a part of college football history. You want to say you were there. So as we're getting ready for Gary Stoken, the CEO of the Chick-fil-A Bowl. And as you know, the Chick-fil-A Bowl is not just a bowl game after the season, but we open up the college football season. This year it will be University of North Carolina against the Georgia Bulldogs. A very interesting matchup between what has been commonly known as an ACC powerhouse in North Carolina. Larry Fedora has really turned some things around. And of course, the Georgia Bulldogs headed with Heisman hopeful Nick Chubb as well. So just talking a little bit about the matchup in the Georgia Dome with Georgia and UNC. Your preliminary thoughts on that game?
Well, I think it's going to be a very interesting game. North Carolina coming in winner of last year's, winner of the Coastal Division, and taking on a Georgia team that does not has Chubb back, but doesn't have Mark Richt, who's now in South Florida. He's going to be, so it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a home game for the Bulldogs because they are actually maybe like 15 minutes away from the Georgia Dome. So it'll be more Bulldogs than Tar Heels. But we'll see we'll see who wins on that game on that Labor Day weekend.
Absolutely, and as we get, that's going to be a very interesting matchup. And Herb, one of the things later on in the season when the college football playoff and the talk starts is not just about conference strength, but it's about games outside of your conference. So I think this game holds a specific, even though it's the first game of the season, just because it's against an SEC school, it holds a lot of weight for North Carolina, and we'll see what Coach Fedora has in store. They certainly haven't had any lack of scoring the last few years. They are an air-it-out offense. He attacks. They can get their defense tightened up. They will be a formidable team in the ACC this year.
Yeah, that's exactly. And then also during that Labor Day weekend, that Monday night down in Orlando, Florida, you have another SEC school taking on another ACC school. Florida State taking on Ole Miss. Ole Miss having a lot of off-season issues with their NCAA violation going on with the folks with Larry Tunzel, who admitted on draft night that he took money from the coach, after he posted a legal substance on his Twitter page. So that program, Ole Miss is right now, they don't know when they're going to get sanctioned. I was listening to some radio stations last week on ESPN radio, like Paul Quambaum, and he said they don't know if they're going to get, they don't know if they're going to get postseason ban this year, next year, or a year later. So, but how are you going to, if you're a program like that, like Freeze is the coach at Ole Miss. How are you going to keep your players upbeat knowing that it's going to come a time that you're not going to be playing in the postseason? How are you going to keep your players focused on the job at hand?
Well, I think, Herb, it's going to be tough. I mean, players play for the postseason, and when you have self-imposed sanctions, that says a lot. We certainly don't want to say anything negative, but Larry Tunsil, he had a great career, and he didn't have any, he wasn't shy about saying, about what he received at Ole Miss, and I just don't understand the motivation, quite frankly. And what does that do? I mean, there's a ton of underclassmen who played with this guy last year. You know, you got each other's back. I mean, what must they think of their former team?
Well, that's true. I agree with you. You know, a lot of these players, you know, now who are playing at Ole Miss, it's like they're going to be great. Thanks, bud. Thanks for saying that on NFL draft night. You know, now that might hurt recruiting because if you're a senior and you're being recruited by Ole Miss, and you have Ole Miss or Florida State or say James Madison, would you like to go to Ole Miss and sit there for 4 years, maybe 2 years on a probation ban, or go to a school that you can actually get yourself on postseason TV and all these programs? What do you think?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you know, and after these guys want to play at the next level. I mean, every single college football player, especially in the ACC, this is football at its finest, and they're thinking about the next level. And part of that is not just being on national television, but it's that bowl game where the whole national audience is tuning in to watch you perform. And when you take that away from a young man's scholarship or even his regular season, then motivation comes into question.
Exactly, I agree with you. So we're just waiting for Gary from the Chick-fil-A Bowl, the CEO. We talked to him 3 years ago in Greensboro, and I don't know if he's bringing any Chick-fil-A sandwiches. That's what happened last time. We have to hide these gift cards, because I don't know if we're allowed to have gift cards. But we want to say thank you to Mike Flynn and the folks here at the ACC for letting us broadcast live. We did have a little pickup yesterday, and we fixed everything, and we thank you for all their hard work to get us on the air and let us broadcast today. We are on a new live feed here. You can actually listen to us on your Facebook right now. If you can hear us, you can always text us at 443-567-0746 to let us know if you are listening to us, or you can drop us an email at herbfmradio@gmail.com. Let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. This is our first time with the new software. We are working at the bugs and kinks and all that stuff. So it's like Lee and the guys over there at the Carolina Sports Radio Network are just chilling. I like that microphone you have. You want to steal it?
Very good. ACC. Herb, let me ask you this. Sometimes I've been known to put a little wager or two. Over under Dalvin Cook total yards for the season, 1,500.
Well, I want to say I don't know 1,500. It might be. I think he's probably going to be over. But here's the thing: he's coming off of last year. He pulled a hammy. He blew a tire against Miami. And then throughout the rest of the season, he was off and on. Like one game he wasn't playing, and then he played a quarter, or he played a half a game. And that's some question I'd like to ask Jimbo Fisher tomorrow. When we have a chance to. How's he gonna save him? Are you gonna save him? Are you gonna have him go buck wild against this right away, or are you gonna keep him fresh and ready to go for your rivalries? Ole Miss is not a rivalry. We haven't played them since 1961, so that's not really a rivalry. And yes, it's a neutral site for Labor Day weekend. Labor Day games, we don't really play that well. In the history of I've been following. So in my opinion, I think you'll see Jimbo alternating him back and forth. Dalvin Cook will get his 100 yards. There will be 200 yards. It'll be 110. That's it. Plus, they have this new technology that Florida State has to test how the speed of him running. How the speed. How he takes off, like how fast he goes before the game. And that's great technology. I don't think you had that when your parents grew up watching that football. You have somebody hook up to a system to you and say, hey, we're gonna monitor your speed and see when you blow a tire. It's gonna be interesting, but I think it might be over. But like I said, it all depends on how that hamstring is. The hamstring's ready to go, then don't put the pedal to the metal, but I don't want him to blow out another tire.
Right, and I think we have to preface that answer by how good the quarterback is. You know, how often do you have to, how many third and longs are you going to have because of inconsistent and unproductive first and second S's. So there's a lot to be said about Florida State. I mean, obviously he's the workhorse. I mean, I believe if he stays healthy, I don't see a way he's not invited to New York. I mean, quite frankly, he's been tearing it up. And even when, defensive have loaded the box, he is strong enough and his vision is good enough where he can create something on his own.
Exactly, I totally agree with you. Let's talk about the Atlantic division. That's the tougher division here in the ACC. I think the coastal division is pretty. You got your North Carolina, you got your Duke, and you got your Georgia Tech. Those three are the prime, and Virginia Tech if they actually played better. What do you think about Miami's chances? What Miami team? Let's talk about the coastal division. Let's talk about Miami. What Miami team would you see? If you're capable of being a 93 squad, or it could be a 66 squad. That's what kind of publication I've been saying over the summer. What do you think about it? What do you think of Miami?
Well, let's first address the coaching change. I mean, Mark Richt, the knock on him at Georgia was that he couldn't win the big game. But you know what? The fact that he played in big games says something about his regular season. There was a lot of people that came out of the woodwork dogging him, which I thought was very unfair. He brought this program to prominence. The one thing that he does too, Herb, is he brings stability. You know what you're going to get. He's an even-keel coach, and I think he's going to have some success at Miami. Miami's never been shy about getting great recruits. Just a couple of years ago, Duke Johnson was a first-round draft pick. So I think good players are going to come. And I think with a guy like Mark Richt at the helm, this division is wide open. Brad Kayeb showed some signs, as we said last year. His numbers didn't wow you. But certainly if they could find some balance, then that would bode well for them. I think Miami's going to be right there at the end.
Oh, I agree. They'll be right there at the end. And let's talk about Pittsburgh. They're like one of those quiet teams here in the ACC that they come from the Big East, and they're pretty quiet. In provocations, they put them 7-5 and 5-3 in the ACC, tied for third with North Carolina, third this year. What about Pittsburgh? What can Pittsburgh do to get bring that championship back? They haven't won a conference championship since they were in the Big East.
Well, last year they won 6 conference. They had 6 conference wins last year. That's pretty impressive. And when you look at road games at